Okay, students, we're going to do the little button bag here, and it's like great. You are first going to use your handy dandy like seam gauge, which I love. It's like one of my favorite things because look what you can do. You can push it up exactly at 3/8 of an inch. Remember, 1, 2, 3 lines. The first line's in the hole. 3 lines. Get it right on there. Put your iron down and get it like pressed down. Check this side. Make sure it's at 3/8. Keep your fingers out of the way and press it down. Now we're doing wrong sides together and pressing that down wrong sides together. And hit it with a little steam with your iron so that it lays it really nice and flat. My iron's running out of a little steam, it looks like. Then you're going to do the other side. Exactly the same. Push it back. Push it with your, or fold it back. Push it with your seam gauge to 3/8 of an inch. And press that down and steam it. So it holds it down so you don't have to pin it. Then you're going to come over here to the machine. These little bags are fast other than the buttonhole, so you should be able to make this pretty quick. I'm going to sew this with black thread. I normally would sew it with a yellow thread or a gold thread, but I want you to be able to see my stitches and what I'm doing. So I'm going to line up the outside fold along the inside edge of the presser, or outside edge of the presser foot along the fold on just one side. I'm only going to sew one side even though I pressed both of them down. So here we go. We're going to do a regular straight stitch. We're doing a little back stitch and we're going forward and we're keeping the edge lined up, the fold lined up with the outside edge of the presser foot. So we're making a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Come to the other edge and back stitch. Remember, back stitching is the knot on both sides so the thread doesn't come undone. So this back stitching looks good. That one's a little long. This computerized machine kind of sometimes like gets me because my machine at home isn't computerized. Now, once we've got that done, we're going to fold right sides together to make the little bag that's going to be about big enough for some jewelry or some ear buds or some earphones, whatever, just a little tiny bag. So we're going to fold it right sides together like that. And we're going to sew, this is going to be the flap up here, and that's the side that we're not going to sew down. So just one side is sewn down. And then it's going to fold like that into a little bag, but it's going to be inside out when we do it. So you're going to take some pins, and you are going to pin this down where you want it. And it is going to be like 3 1/4 inches. So then we're going to do 3 1/4 inches on this side. And I'm just a little short of 3 1/4. I'm good on that side. I'm a little short on this side, so I'm going to just pull it up just a little bit. Okay. 3 1/4. I'm going to put a pin in. I'm going to put 2 pins in each side. That's a bad pin. If you get a bad pin, throw it away. Pins are like less than a penny a piece. Okay, and it's not worth the frustration to work with a bad pin. And then you're going to pin this side. Now notice I'm pinning perpendicular so I can sew over the pins. If I pin parallel, it gets stuck under my foot, my presser foot. And if I pin diagonally, my needle hits it, and then I have a broken needle. So you don't want to do that. You may not even have any new needles at your house, and then you're going to have to go out and go to Joann's or order it online. Okay, and it's going to hold you up. Now you're going to pull these right together tight, not overlapping, just like butting up against each other. Like this. And you're going to pin it down. And you're going to put another pin in here. And then you're going to grab pins and do the same thing on the other side. And you're going to put it here. And then you're going to bring it under your machine. And we're going to do 2 1/4 inch seams, one on each side, sewing these little things together, back stitching at both ends. Here we go. Following the edge of the presser foot, and if you want, you can take the needles out, the pins out as you go. Back stitching at both ends, and notice when I back stitch, I come all the way off the edge of the fabric. Otherwise, you get a hole in that corner of your bag where stuff can fall out if you don't go all the way to the corner. I'm cutting my threads all the way off, turning it over, and I'm going to do the other side. It's going to be almost done. I've almost got this little bag done. Okay, make sure you pull the edge of the fabric back so that that hole in the presser foot is filled. Otherwise, it stuffs your fabric into the stitch plate and jams your machine. Keeping it going over the pins. Here we go. Back stitching. And we're done. We're almost done with our bag. Isn't that slick? Okay, now I'm going to cut those threads. I'm going to now do a zigzag edge finish, but this time I'm going to take out the pins. And then I'm going to line it up on the inside edge of the presser foot. I'm going to change my machine to a regular zigzag. I'm going to increase the stitch to a 4 right here and leave it at a regular zigzag number 2 stitch. So you're going to have to figure out on your machine at home what that is. I'm going to do a back stitch. I'm lining up the inside edge of the presser foot again, the edge of the fabric to the inside edge of the presser foot, leaving a hole in this window so the fabric, the needle goes on the edge, off the edge, on the edge, off the edge, wraps that edge because we're doing an edge finish so it won't fray. So I'm grading you on the edge finish. A lot of you did a great job on your bookmark, so just make sure you keep it off the edge or it will fray. See how it's going all the way off the edge, and now these are the frays that had started before I sewed, but now I can't fray it anymore, so I'm going to cut those off. I'm going to cut all those off, and I'm going to cut these short so that I don't have big long threads making my bag a mess. Now I've got one side done. I'm going to do the other side. Lining it up, back stitching, going forward, lining it up on the inside edge of the presser foot, back stitching, and now my bag is pretty much done. Watch when I turn it inside out. Flip it inside out. Now it's going to be all clean and tidy. It won't catch your jewelry or your earbuds or any of your stuff that you put inside of it. Now here's the flap. Turn that inside out. Now we're going to get either the edge of our seam gauge or something and pull those corners out so it looks professional and sometimes you can use this little point. It works really good to push that edge out. You got to pull this out of the way though. And then you can turn it over and you get a nice square 90-degree angle corner. You do the same thing up in these corners. That's what that pointy thing is for on the end of there. Okay, look how beautiful that looks. Now we have the pocket for stuff to go in. Now we have this mess. If we don't sew this down, it's going to catch. That's the side I didn't sew down. So now we're going to sew it down. Here we go. And because it's such a small space, if you want to, you can put a pin in here, but you may be able to do it if you're careful and you have it nice and flat, and you're going to line it up on the inside edge of the presser foot again, making an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. You're going to sew, whoops, bad deal. Got to remember to change my machine back to a number 1. So I'm going to quickly fix that. It's fast to fix it right at first because you just cut this thread right here and pull it out. And there you go, it's gone. So we're going to put it back, put our threads to the back so they don't get jammed. Keep this out of the way so you don't sew it down. Lay that right on the inside edge of the presser foot. Sew a straight stitch all the way across there. Keeping it nice and straight, back stitching. And now our little bag is done except for the button and buttonhole, and that will be on a different demonstration. If you watched my buttonhole demonstration from the bookmark, you know how to sew the button on, but I need to show you how to center it. You also need to have done the buttonhole measuring assignment before you do this. So the buttonhole, the button is going to go right there with a buttonhole, and then the button will be sewn on right here, and then you can close it down and you've got a cute little bag. That's the end.